So I was in the shower, I was cleaning my ass and making all sure it's all sparkly, spanky clean.
I'm not the funny one, I'm the pretty one.
Cock shots. I just checked myself out.
Candles, music, wine, and then lube up and get on top.
The glory hole's like a big theater. I've imagined your family.
Which means your pants had better come off. Mama needs playtime. I do that.
We're not sluts.
We just love love.
It's for reals this time. Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
This is Mr. Adam.
And Mrs. Adam. We're mixing it up on you.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be different.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But you're listening to us on By the By. You forgot that part?
Oh, yeah. I was moving all into the exciting part.
Wow.
Nobody cares what they're listening to.
Whatever. Yeah.
They know. They downloaded us. They're excited about the meat and taters.
All right. What kind of meat and taters do we
Who
have?
wants meat and taters? I got 2 little boiler potatoes.
And some meat.
And a sausage roll. All right, let's jump right into this one.
All right.
So last time, if you were listening, if you weren't, please go download last time because come on, folks. No, but last time, if you were listening, we talked about the SexEd class that was run by Mischief at OSS.
Our secret spot.
Our secret spot. Sorry, thank you. And one of the things that was asked early in the podcast was whether or not Mrs. Adam had any takeaways. We were going to answer that, but then we were like, let's practice this for a little while and see if she actually does have any takeaways. So, Mrs. Adam, do you have any takeaways?
So I think we learned, as you would have heard on the last podcast, that I didn't think I would really enjoy using gloves very much, but actually using nitrile gloves was it was pretty entertaining, and I would say that I enjoy it from a time to time, not all the time, but it's a good every now and again, change things up.
Something different.
Type activity, yeah. So that was something that I definitely learned. There were a couple of techniques, particularly the fire starter one.
I was surprised by that as well.
That because me not having a penis, I kind of think that one might not feel so good. Of course, you have to use a lot of lube with that one, but it was hard for me the first time we did it not to laugh when I was doing it because it feels kind of silly.
It was hard for me not to laugh as well because you had a look on your face like you had a really goofy look, and I ended up closing my eyes because I couldn't look at your face. I'm sorry.
So, but then
you're a beautiful woman, but seriously.
But then I tried to get my facial expressions under control a bit.
The last thing you want to do is look at somebody when they're giving you a hand job and you're like, wait, is she channeling Hannibal Lecter? Look, you sort of look like the clown from It. Yeah, that's basically what was going on.
Yeah.
So I closed my eyes. It was great.
Right. But yeah, so actually once I started doing I found it quite enjoyable and pleasurable, and Mr. Adam seemed to be enjoying it as well.
I came around.
With his eyes closed.
See what I did there?
Yes, yeah. Yes. So that's definitely one that I'm sure we'll use again. A lot of the techniques I would say we pretty much already do, but there were a couple that were a little different, and
So all in all, we learned something. I think
definitely.
That's the takeaway. It was worth it for us, old, people who have been doing this for ages. We actually picked up something. So definitely come along next time and.
Yeah, and you, like I said, when she kind of started in on this, it was like, we've got this, it's good.
Same old, wah wah. But no.
But there's always a little something, a little interesting tidbit or whatnot.
If you think you know everything about anything, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
That's true.
And I think this was a good sort of wake-up call for us in that we thought we might know everything about something, and we were wrong.
Yeah.
The second you stop learning, you start dying.
Yeah.
I don't know what. Sounds clever. I think that's from a movie. Anyway, so what we're going to continue on with tonight is the continuation of that night, which was our experience at our secret spot.
Yes.
So this was our first time at our secret spot in which there wasn't a massive, large, crazy function going on.
It wasn't a theme night. It was just a regular old Friday night.
So frequent listeners will remember the New Year's Eve experience that we had with C&D. Frequent listeners will remember the ladies' night that we had, where we met and our first sort of play with Tony and Maria. But this time we went by our fucking selves.
Yes, we did.
So it was on us to meet people and say, hey. And so we did. And yeah, so take it away.
Yep. And so it was interesting that when the class was over, you had the option to stay or not. And they did a tour around, showed people around, newbies, people that hadn't been there before.
Which was a fair number of. I would say probably at least a third, if not a half of the folks that were of the 22 that were at the SexEd class had not been to OSS before.
I would agree, yeah. So yeah, they did a tour, showed them around, and some stayed, some didn't, some left. And that, that's fine.
Yeah, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, and then as the evening wore on, of course, more people come in and whatnot. I have no guesstimation as to how many people ended up being there because I'm terrible with that type of thing, especially once people spread out.
Yeah, it's so hard to tell because it's a pretty big place.
Yeah.
And people are constantly sort of moving around, so it's hard to tell.
But it wasn't super overly crowded.
No.
There was, in fact, when we didn't start out changing right away.
No.
We stayed in our...
Well, we learned our lesson from the couples club a few weeks ago, and we kept our street clothes on.
For a little bit, yeah.
Because you even said, do you want to go ahead and dress down? And I was like, no, because I don't want a repeat of couples club.
It was also early because, the class ended at probably, 8:30, 8:45, something like that.
Yeah, so it was still pretty early.
Yeah, and so, we're talking maybe 9 o'clock by the time we... got a drink and whatnot.
Got a drink, hung around, talked to the instructor.
Yeah, it was probably 9 or maybe even a little after, but it was still pretty early.
Yeah.
So we did decide to keep our street clothes on for a little bit longer.
I think we kept our street clothes on for about 30 minutes.
Yeah,
So
probably.
we also did the thing where we got our glass of wine and we had our drinks, and then we both sat down in the sort of communal area.
On the couches.
On the couches. Nobody came and talked to us, and I will be the first to admit that I was not in the right headspace to go up and talk to randoms because it had been a hard work week and I was tired and yada yada yada.
Well, and also I will say though that there's two kind of rooms that are adjoined that have couch spaces in them. There's the first one as you're coming from the drinks, but the first one has the pole in it,
swingers pole, or the stripper pole.
Yeah, and then the other one is where the class was, and it was just the couches around the table in the room. And there were two couples sitting in the swinger pole room, but they were very intent on each other.
They were talking.
And so they were very
we didn't want to interrupt.
Intensely focused. And so it was like, okay, we don't want to interrupt that. And so we went into the other room and there was nobody in there. So we sat down and just started kind of talking and kissing and whatnot ourselves. And other people did kind of come and go here and there as we were sitting in that room. And we chatted a little bit with one couple across a bit.
We did. We chatted with one
Only for a
couple.
few
I know we gave
minutes,
them our intro card, which has our information on it. Which I'm sure. Look, folks, if somebody hands you an intro card, that's a digital handshake. I think it's sort of like, hey, contact us. We're not just. It's funny because I look at it. It's not a business card.
No,
it is a business card, but it's not. It's not something. I don't give it out to everybody.
Right. And I will say that we find it's easier in a club environment because you don't have your phones.
Yeah, they frown on that.
And we don't keep our cards around, but it's very easy to say to somebody, hey, what's your locker number? We'll just slide it in your locker before we leave.
Slide it in your locker. Sorry.
But that's a lot easier because nobody's going to have their phones and nobody's going to have a pen and paper and say, hey, write down your number or whatever.
Your number, your email address, whatever.
Yeah.
And we have our kick information, our email address, our website.
So it's an easy way to tell somebody, hey, look, we're interested. If you want to talk to us again, here's our contact information.
Check us out.
Yeah.
So, we sat there, and I know at one point, and we wandered around a bit and just kept coming back to this one little area. But at one point, another couple came in and sat down, and I had the feeling they wanted to talk to us, but I was also sort of into you at that time. We were intensely talking about, actually, I think about the SexEd course, or what we had just experienced. So I think we sort of ignored them, and they weren't brave enough to say, hey.
I must have been into the conversation because
Yeah.
I didn't notice.
They sat directly across from us, and I know they talked for a bit, and I know she looked at us, and he came up and left, and she kept looking at us, and then she got up and left, and I felt bad about that.
Sorry,
but
guys.
again,
Yeah.
I was in a bad headspace, and I hope that the next time I'm there, I'm in a better headspace.
Sorry, I get focused on something, and
do.
I just kind of ignore everything else
Yeah.
around, which is, not
so
necessarily a good thing.
we had not had an opportunity to actually wander around OSS with very few people.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a great opportunity to sort of explore and see this club for what it is, not covered in naked bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Which, don't get me wrong, there's something pleasant about going through a club and seeing naked bodies. But what I sort of wanted to do was, with admittedly couples club fresh in my mind, I wanted to look at OSS with a completely different, like,
A different perspective.
I'm not going to judge it based off of the previous experiences that we had, in which it was pretty much covered up. So we wandered around. We set our glasses of wine down, which I will also say that shows a level of the club. When you are comfortable enough to sit your wine glasses down and wander around the club, knowing that you're not going to get roofied, it's something to keep in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
You know, when you're comfortable enough, you know that you're safe enough there. That's a wonderful sign for a club.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
anybody who's listening, if you go to a club and you don't feel comfortable setting your glass down and then wandering about,
Maybe you shouldn't play there.
maybe you shouldn't play there. That's that's an important thing, and I will give both clubs in this city have that feeling. I would be comfortable sitting my glasses down, going about, coming back. I might be worried that somebody might steal my glass and drink from it. That's cool. Alcohol kills most things. But so anyway, so we sat our wine down, and then the first place we went up was the near stairs. So you walk in the club, it's the stairs closest, and it's also the larger of the two play areas.
Yeah.
And so we walked in. There's a room at the top of the stairs. There's a room to the left. We kind of looked in there, and at that time, there was a couple in there with the instructor, Miss Jeff, and I think she was giving them sort of a one-on-one personal.
They wanted some help.
They wanted some help with the hand job, oral sex, which, again, I love that kind of environment, that place where you feel safe enough to, after a sex education course like that or time like that you feel safe enough to talk to somebody and then go upstairs and immediately play. Let's help me out here. And I think she was really helping them out. And I would love to talk to her about that and say, how did that go? I don't care what you said to them, but just how did the end game? How did that end? So we let that be. We didn't want to interrupt that. There's the little bedroom onto the right. We walked on. And then what's really funny is everything past that first little bedroom on the right, I don't remember ever seeing before.
You mean the back room with the massage tables and the sauna?
And the sauna. I don't remember ever seeing that.
That's funny.
I'm sure we saw it because I remember there was a bathroom there.
Yeah.
But the two massage tables, don't remember. You know why? Because they were covered up with peoples. The hot tub, I don't remember. You know why? Because it was covered up with peoples.
I remember the hot tub. I don't really remember the massage tables, but it was so full of people that,
There are two massage tables. There's a little toilet room with a shower probably. Then there's the hallway widens, and on each side of the hallway is two massage tables.
Left and right.
With a place where you can lay your face, and then there's the big junk hole.
Yep.
So that you can get a hand job from underneath the table, which someday I want one of those. I don't know why, but I want one of them. Not the hand job. Oh,
the table
plus
or the.
Well, I was going to say what I meant was the table, but I also wouldn't mind a hand job from under the table. Anyway,
Right.
I want both. Can I have it all? Anyway, so then we had this big sauna room, and that sauna is ginormous.
It is.
8-person.
And there were already a
think?
few people in it at that point.
I'd say 8 people would fit in that.
Oh, easy.
It's big.
Yeah. Yeah, there were already a few people in it at that point when we were first wandering around. I think there was a couple on one of the massage tables.
No, not in the beginning. There was nobody. Because remember, we also looked at the smoking space.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
because there was nobody up there except for the couple that was getting their private tutoring.
I thought there was somebody in the hot.
I don't think there was, because I remember we walked up there and I was like, holy shit, this place is gigantic.
Sure. Okay.
And then we opened the little smoking area, and they've got this little bitty smoking cage that is probably the size of our dinner table.
So don't plan on smoking.
Yeah, don't plan on smoking. Plus, just don't plan on smoking. It's bad for you. It kills. Anyway, but yeah, I like how they did their smoking area. Comparatively to other clubs that we've been
for
to.
sure. Much better.
You know, the Law and Baby Doll, they discourage smoking, which, I'm sorry, I am in full support of that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to a club to play, it's not appealing to anyone. So
unless you're unless it's another smoker.
Fair enough.
I mean, but I don't know. It's if you can't hold off smoking for 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not going to judge because I can't hold off drinking for 2 to 3 hours. But anyway, so we went back downstairs and finished our wine. Then did we dress down, I think?
Yeah.
Before we went up to the other playroom
Yeah.
to look it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went and decided, I think we finished those glasses of wine. And then decided we were going to dress down. So we dressed down. I'll let you describe what you were wearing.
So I was wearing a bra and panty and
Garter belt.
garter belt. There you go. That was the word. I was like girdle, not girdle, but
Not
garter
girdle.
belt. Yeah, bra, panty, and garter belt set from Honey Birdette. It's red. It has, I don't know, I call it my Sergeant Pepper set.
Because it looks like, it is. It's bright red with black trim and big
has little buttons,
gold buttons on it. So it looks like she stepped off of the cover from Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Yeah. So that, and then I had my thigh-high stockings on.
She looked badass. Hot.
That was it. That's all I had on.
And I was wearing my white mesh trunks.
Just see-through enough.
Just see-through enough. And what I call a tank top down here because...
A singlet.
A singlet. What I would have called a wife beater in the States, but I sort of got a little... I'm going to say squicky about it because a lady while we were there called it a wife beater. And then I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be wearing this. I don't know. I got a little self-conscious because she called it a wife beater.
But I actually I think to me there's a slight, and I know that functionally there's no difference between the two, between a wife beater and a singlet, but the singlets down here tend to have a slightly different cut to them than a wife beater does.
Yeah.
And to me that makes it a little more form-fitting. It's cut a little bit different in the neckline and in the armholes. It's not a huge difference, but it's just enough to where it looks more casual than it does like kind of
Well, tangent alert. For me, a wife beater is any t-shirt where somebody has ripped off the sleeves. So it sort of it fills from the neck to the top of the shoulder.
Close to,
whereas what I was wearing has almost spaghetti straps.
It's a thinner strap, so it comes in a bit more from the shoulder.
Yeah, and it draws in. And anything that makes me look like I have any kind of definition or muscles is a positive thing in my case. So that's why I wore it.
And it fits snugly enough without being too tight.
It's tight and form-fitting, but you know, it's tight where it's supposed to be tight and
it
loose
hugs
where it's
all the
supposed to be
curves
loose.
nicely.
And
then you had the mesh
the mesh trunks,
yeah.
So that was nice.
Give you a nice little kind of sneak peek, but not really.
I love those trunks. So we dressed down, and then immediately, of course, Mrs. Adam has to go to the bathroom, and then so I went
Par for the course.
Bladder the size of a walnut. Seriously,
tiny bladder. Sorry.
So like every other part of you, except for your breasts and your ass, it's tiny. So while she went to the loo, I talked to the nice ladies that are the guardians of the key for the BDSM room.
Yeah.
So now, unfortunately, because people can't be trusted and people are fucking animals, they have to lock up their BDSM gear because people were stealing it. What is wrong with you all? Anyway.
Yeah. Don't go to a club and steal their equipment.
Seriously? You're why we can't have nice things. Yeah. So she asked me, she was like, okay, what do you want? And then I had this blank look that, I was like, and she goes, you don't know what you want? And I went, she usually decides what we want. And I wish you could have seen the look on her face. It was just like, she had this look of pleasure. She looked like the cat that ate the canary. She went, she's in charge. And I went, oh, yes, ma'am. And she goes, I like you. And then she kind of came out and gave my shoulder a squeeze. And I was like, was
it the same one that smacked you the one time?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just love it. Again, this goes back to the quality of people that are at this club. They're good value people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great place. Anyway, so Mrs. Adam comes out, and then I'm standing there like a goofball, and she kind of waves at the lady. I wish I knew her name, but I can't think of her name. Anyway,
Starts with an S. I want to say Serena, but I don't really know.
Sabrina.
I should probably know.
We should totally know. I want to. We need to introduce ourselves appropriately.
Yeah.
But so she came out and she kind of laughed and talked to you from then on. She didn't even acknowledge me, which I actually really appreciate, because that's sort of the way I feel like it should be at times when I'm in this mental space. And we went back into their room, and you and I commented on this before, to take a step back. They have, of all of the clubs we have ever been to, they have the best setup for a BDSM room.
Yeah.
It's just beside their bar area. So imagine a hallway. At one end of the hallway you have a bar area, and then on the same side of the hallway you have the BDSM room. And what separates the bar area from the hallway is a big window. And what separates the BDSM playroom from the hallway is this big
cage.
It's a cage, basically. And there's drapes that you can close and pull closed, so if you want privacy you can have it. Or what I find in most kink communities, we like to put on a show.
We leave it open. Yeah.
Most of us like to put on a show.
Yeah.
Part of the kink BDSM community is showing off what you're doing. And so we walked in, she opened the glass cage for us, you made a few selections, and then instantly clipped me to the St. Andrew's Cross, and you started your procedure on me.
Sounds like an operation.
True, it does, and I don't mean it like that.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You first was the flogger.
The flogger.
Which you immediately basically threw aside because
it was a little too soft.
Aren't we all?
It was fine. It was good, but it was a little softer than what I wanted. And it was fine. I came back to it later, a bit here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I tossed it to the side.
And you also had gotten a piece of cane, I think, out.
Yep. So I used that a little bit.
That fucking hurts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good hurt, but that
the
hurts.
point.
And I know, again, this goes back to the setup of that room. It's a great room because although the St. Andrew's Cross is in the corner, so you would think you can't see anything, that corner is mirrored. So you can see everything that's going on behind you. So at this point, when you started using the cane on me, that cane pops. I mean, you hit ass and it just cracks. And at that point we had about 4 or 5 people watching what you were doing, which is always nice to see you, someone who you're not a performer typically. In that kind of situation, you become this sort of, don't laugh, but I always think of you as like a circus ringleader. You're like P.T. Barnum in that case. All you're missing was the top hat kind of cocked to your side, which might be a badass costume
next
to do.
time I'm going to take a top hat.
I mean, that could be a badass costume for you as like the circus entertainer kind of person.
Do I get to have a little waistcoat with the tails?
I think it would be badass.
We should do this.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We need to encourage OSS to do a circus theme.
Oh, I can just have that with my bra and panties on underneath.
That'd be...
And my top hat.
Getting a little...
All right, we're going to...
Is it hot in here or is it just you?
I need to get a coat and a hat.
So... but that's what I imagine you, because you sort of take on this persona of everything is a little bit bigger than it actually is. Lucky me. And it's big, it's great. And then you were disappointed in the quality of equipment that you had. So you walked back out and talked to the nice young lady, and she came back and gave you something else, a whip.
The whip. That's when the whip came out.
Once again, P.T. Barnum. And anybody, so you were...
Oh, wait, so if I put on the top hat and the coat with the tails, do you get to wear the lion head?
I'll wear a lion tail butt plug.
Awesome. All right.
You hear that, D? We need you to buy us a lion's tail butt plug since you purchased the horse tail for us. I can't buy my own tails. Dude, tail is so expensive nowadays. So that was a shout out to Swinging Down Under. If you don't listen to them, switch over and listen to them as well.
Not right now. Finish this one first and then go.
Yeah, we have good shit to say. Cue it up later. It was... you went and got the whip, and then you started doing that thing with the whip where you bend it in half and sort of rub it on your breasts. And I mean, you don't even notice you're doing it. I know you don't even know you're doing it. But you're looking at me and you're like rubbing the bend of the whip across your chest, and you're like, yeah. And like at this point we had 7, maybe 8 people watching. I think a couple of them had their faces pressed up against the cage. It was awesome. I mean, it was like, and then you start the whip, and I mean, anybody who has ever heard a whip crack,
you know that sound. It's
you know that sound,
unmistakable.
and that was probably the most painful thing I'd ever felt, like in that kind of situation. Only because you would crack the whip. The one negative to this room is there's not a lot of space.
It's good size.
It's about the size of a bedroom.
It's good size, but it's not huge. Yeah.
It's about the size of a small Sydney. It's a Sydney bedroom.
A small Sydney bedroom. Yeah.
New York, San Francisco. Yeah. One of those kind of size bedrooms. And so you would crack the whip, and it would start hitting me about ass. Like a center of my ass, but then it would wrap around. Yeah, it would wrap around,
just a little,
and either hit that, like where the lines of Adonis should be if I actually worked out, or up a little higher.
It was more usually just the side. It was just an inch or two
on the
there.
rib cage, and that fucking. There was a couple times I almost collapsed. It was awesome.
Yeah, and I was thinking what I should do is wrap it around my hand once just to shorten it a little, and that might help a little.
Or just take a step over.
I was pretty far back.
Yeah,
though.
But if you are aiming for my right ass cheek,
true.
and then change and aim for my left ass cheek with the same swing, then that pin is that last little pin is going to hit my right ass cheek. Hindsight's 20/20. I'm not complaining. It felt good. I didn't say the safe word. Again, it goes back to the only issue with this sort of play area is I don't want us to monopolize it.
Right.
Because there were people watching at that point, and some of the people had left, and some people had come back. But I don't.
You don't want to hog it.
You don't want to hog it because that's just rude.
Yeah.
So I have trouble sort of letting myself go in that situation because I don't want to hog it. In my mind, 15 minutes is the amount of time you're allowed to have in a room like that. Do you agree?
I would tend to say yes, but at the same time, and it may also depend on the crowd because I think there were at least a few newer people there this time, but I know when we've been there before, other people have come in. And they've used like the stocks and things there. Other people have come in.
There are other things in that room.
And used other pieces of equipment. Yeah. And so, if they really wanted to, they could come in. But if they don't feel like they can, then that might preclude them. So there's a fine line there, I think.
So that room, and this was the first time I'd ever noticed it, they actually have a cable that suspends from the ceiling.
Yeah.
I think next time I might want to try that. The idea of being not suspended, but forced to stand.
Right.
Hands
above your head.
With my hands above my head and you whipping me. I think that would be kind of...
Could be interesting,
That could be hot because then you've got to, with me in the St. Andrew's Cross, you can't get to my genitalia.
Right.
There's no cock and ball play.
No.
But with that, there could be. And that's a little bit of... That adds to the fun and torture of it.
Yeah.
Although I don't see that... It's funny. That's the only place in that whole location that I don't see as a sex room.
But again, I was going to say, the problem, not really a problem, but the issue with that, I would say, is the whole time monopolizing thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if we're going to get into that, we're going to be there for a while. That's not going to be a quick thing.
No.
And so it's either going to have to be, you have to get into a headspace where you're okay with that and know that people may come or people may go. But if they want to, they'll come into the room, or... I don't know. I don't know how to make it, because I see that as being a more drawn out experience.
True. Yeah.
That's not a quick
I'm not looking
experience.
for completion. I'm just looking for a little bit.
I know.
I love it. Oh, I know. Mama knows. Mama knows. Mama gonna torture the shit out of you. That's what I heard. So, anyway. So we played in that room for a bit, which, again, favorite room of any club we've ever been to. We left there. Some of us with a few more bruises on our bottoms.
You didn't have bruises, a few red marks, but they were gone the next day.
Yeah, I think I have a bruise on my side.
Really?
I have a sore spot still right here. Anyway, I'm like rubbing my side, and people at home are going, we can't see that.
Here, right here, you see?
Yeah, right here. Yeah. See? Come on, jeez. So after that, we had a little more wine. And then I know we walked.
Which was downstairs because drinks are not allowed upstairs.
Well, that's where the playroom, the playroom we were in was downstairs.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, but we didn't go upstairs until after we had
Sorry,
more.
good point. Yeah. So we did have a little more wine. I think we only had one glass though. We split it between the two of us. You were trying to be responsible, and me, I was being me, which is #irresponsible. So we walked up to the other area, playroom, that we hadn't really paid much attention to the last couple of times we were there.
The big one in the back?
Yeah. So
so it's above the locker rooms, basically.
Exactly. So it's a second set of stairs that's separate from the first set, of course. You go up this
Second
set of
stairs, same as the first. Sorry.
I'm Henry the Eighth. I am. So we go up there, and there's this nice, I'm gonna say 2 king size beds, maybe pushed side to side.
Yeah.
And then this
A
giant
big
shower area with, I want to say there's at least 2, but I think there were 4 shower heads in that room. So I will say 2 things about that. In an apartment, house, or hotel, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
In a play area, it almost seems like overkill. I would love to know how often they have people in that room all showering together.
Well, we saw a few people showering, but it was couples, only
Yes.
one couple at a time on one end or the other.
And they were just trying to clean themselves
Right.
up. And maybe if that's what it's for, that's great. But in my mind, if that's what it's for, it needs to be down in the locker room area. So I'm thinking about saunas. Most of the saunas that I go to, there's a clear shower area that you're meant to, you're cleaning yourselves up so that you could either go home or go back out into the playrooms.
But I guess this way you don't have to leave the playroom to get cleaned up.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
The other side of that, though, is lube and showers never go together, which means condoms and showers never go together. So I'm sort of curious as to how, I would love to know how often play happens in there.
Right.
Which is probably a question for the law and Baby Doll.
Yeah.
So I like that space. And I looked at that and I was like, this is sexy. You look at that and you go, this is sexy, because the idea of showering with your partner or a group of people is hot.
Yeah.
But again, then you go to the functional, it's more form over function.
Classic overthinker.
Is that
You have to stop overthinking.
I know, I'm pulling your card. Yeah, maybe I'm right, or maybe I'm wrong.
You could be right, too.
I could be right.
Could be right, could be wrong.
Man, we're almost in a Billy Joel song. You may be right. I may be crazy. Sorry.
Well, we know you're crazy.
Hey, but it just might be a lunatic you're looking for. Ayo. Anyway, thank you for taking that. That's why I married you. You set up the softballs for me.
Oh.
And then you play with my softballs. That's the other reason I married you.
And then we set more softballs up and let you play with those ones.
So we went up and looked at that. They've got a nice big TV in there playing porn, which is great. I will say one of the negatives that I saw was the porn was no condoms in the porn. That bothers me. But anyway, it's not a huge deal. It's just sort of like one of those, you watch the person fucking the woman and you're like, shouldn't you be wearing a condom? Especially in this kind of scenario. I know, overthinking.
But I will say, though, that I don't know if you noticed this, because I didn't honestly even look at the porn, but I did see on the wall, at least one of the walls, I'm going to guess they were around in all the rooms, I just didn't look at all the rooms that closely, but there was a sign on the wall that said something about, tonight I'm taking home, and it had chlamydia crossed out condoms.
Oh, I didn't see that, but that's fucking genius.
Yeah, it was tonight I'm taking home chlamydia, X'd out condoms.
Oh, that's badass. I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I wish you'd pointed that out to me now.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I mean,
but no, I thought that was very clever and smart.
Yeah. That's okay. I like that.
I know it was in that room, and like I said, it may have been around. Other places I didn't pay attention after that.
Yeah. So yeah, that was good. We walked back downstairs, I think, and at that point, I think that's when we were like, one more glass of wine, and then this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna play.
Then it's playtime.
It's playtime. So we had another glass of wine.
Split between.
We looked around at people. and I'm going to be the first to say, it wasn't that we didn't find anybody attractive. But our regular listeners will know that we both have a bit of an issue playing with people we don't know.
Right, on first meet.
And
there were several people that were attractive, some people we talked to that were really nice.
Yes.
And, you know, so definitely interesting possibilities.
A lot of positive stuff,
we just don't, it's hard for us to play like that in a first time we meet somebody. Yeah.
So we decided we were going to do a little fool around. So we went back up to that same room.
Yep.
Onto the giant bed.
The big one.
And when we got there, we were the only ones there. So it was like, no, we weren't. Sorry, there was another couple in the shower.
Yeah.
Which I think was the couple that was getting tutelage from Miss Jiff. I am 90% certain that's who it was.
All right.
So you and I started, they were in the shower cleaning up, and you and I started fooling around on the bed, and then they got to the other side of the bed and started fooling around as well. Again, anybody who's paying attention knows that this bed is 2 king-size beds, so it was like they were in the next county.
Yeah, they weren't really close at all.
They were way over there, but you know, we're all. I still, there's something about that is hot. Having 2 couples playing on the same bed, even when you're playing with your own partner, I love that. I really enjoy that. So there's a bit of oral, you on me, and I know at one point I flipped you around and we were doing a bit of 69.
I was gonna say you did oral on me.
It was a bit difficult because there was no pillows under my head, so I couldn't really reach you. But I tried, and I was getting a crick in my neck, and it was like, man, I'll just let her do her thing.
Yeah.
I'll just enjoy the view. Yeah. Anyway, and while we were there, we had another couple, the masked couple, lay down between us, us and the other couple.
So there are now 3 couples on the bed.
3 couples on the bed, and she had her gloves on, and they were trying some of the stuff that they had learned from the SexEd class, which was great.
Yep.
But I just, I wasn't feeling it with them next to us.
They didn't seem to be...
It felt clinical.
They didn't have the chemistry.
Yeah. The other couple on the other side, far side of the bed, had clear chemistry.
Yeah. But this couple in the middle didn't really. It seemed very cold and calculated.
Clinical. Yeah. And, you know, it's funny. It's little things that pop into my head. They had also brought wine up. And there is strong rules about do not take alcohol upstairs.
Because I know he tried that later, and they called him out.
They had already did it. That when you and I left, there was 2 wine glasses there.
I didn't notice
that. Was theirs because you were busy going down on me, and I was busy not being able to reach you, so I was looking around at what was going on. Don't judge me. And I saw them come in, and they both had their wine glasses. I'm like, dude, so anybody who knows me, Mrs. Adam can attest. I have trouble crossing a street. If there's it could be like 2 a.m., there's no cars on the road, and it's a don't walk sign. I have like trouble breaking that rule and crossing the street. I'm not a rule breaker.
He's not a rule breaker. And there's signs as you're going up the stairs, you know, no drinks upstairs, blah, blah, blah. It's very obvious.
It's for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want glass up there.
No.
We don't want, you don't want stains. Let's be realistic. Does anybody want to lay down on a bed that has red wine stains? I mean, let's think in a low light, what is your mind going to think?
Yeah.
You're going to think, oh my God, she bled out.
Yeah.
So, you know, you don't want that. That's bad mojo. So that turned me off immediately from them.
Yeah.
You could be as hot as whatever, but if you can't follow simple rules, that means that you can't follow consent rules. So I was like, no. So, but by that point, we had an audience of probably 4 other couples watching the 3 couples on the bed. So I don't know how many people were in the club, but at that point, there was, 7 couples in total in that room. And that's kind of, I liked that. That was kind of, and at that point, you were riding me. You had spun around, and I do pretty well in a situation like this in that I don't come very quickly because you're being watched.
Pressure, yeah.
And there's a little bit of pressure, but I wasn't losing the erection, and you were enjoying yourself, and it's like, this is great, but let's move on to something else.
But once that other couple was in the middle and it was very clinical, it was just kind of like, this isn't really, let's go somewhere else.
It felt less, this sounds so funny to say this, but I'm going to describe it as, it felt less like amateur porn and more like professional porn. Amateur
Interesting.
porn is like, oh yeah, we might actually like each other. But professional porn's like, I am trying to get you off.
Yeah.
And I'm a much more amateur porn guy than professional porn. Anyway, so we got up and we left.
Yes.
We went back downstairs. Did we immediately go up to the next area? Yeah. So down one set of stairs, past the bar, past the BDSM room, and then up the next set of stairs.
Yes, because as we were...
Oh, that's right. Because the first, and we sort of skipped that because we had gone up to that set of stairs again before we played in the back room. We went up to play in the front room, but there was like 3 couples in the hot tub, and both of the massage tables had people on them. And we didn't want to play in just the little bedroom because we wanted to show off.
Yeah.
So
that's why we went back down to the other room.
So we left the big room and then back up the stairs to where the massage tables were.
Yeah, because as we were going up the stairs towards the massage tables, there was another couple downstairs on the couches. And she came up as I was maybe a couple steps ahead of you. And she came up to me and I forget how she called me out, but she somehow called me out. And she was like, I saw you guys in the BDSM room. She's like, that was really hot. I really enjoyed it, And
was that the nice lady in red?
Yes.
So when we first saw her, she was with somebody.
Yeah.
But I never saw him again with her.
Yeah, I'm assuming they came together, but I don't really know.
Maybe they just don't play together.
Maybe.
But she was fucking hot.
She was cute, yeah.
We'll talk more about her later, but she was really hot.
Yeah. And so then you came up behind and we continued on up the stairs. Yeah. And then
I would have played with her.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
But she was at that point down with 2 other guys that they were sitting on the couches in some kind of conversation or doing something. I don't know at that point.
Good for them.
Yeah. Yeah, but then we continued on up the stairs and we kind of looked in the room on the left and I think there was a couple on the bed
There was
in there.
a few people in there and maybe 2 couples. And so as a side note as well, one of the things we were looking for was the swing. And it was during this point that as we were coming down, we were like, dude, the law. Man, where's your swing? And he was like, oh, there was an issue with it last weekend.
So there's no swing.
Somebody fell. There were tears. There's no swing anymore.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if it will ever be put back up or not, but there's not a swing at the moment.
# bummer. Anyway.
I guess it's always a risk, right?
You know what? Yes, it is always a risk. I'd like to think you wouldn't cry.
No, I'd probably do some cursing, but that would be it.
Man, the cursing would call the cops. Anyway.
You would think there might be a couple sailors around.
Yes, exactly.
Like, wow, who brought the Navy in?
So I'll let you continue on this story because I know where this is going.
Oh.
So we're at the top of the stairs.
Yep, so we kind of look left, and there's some people in that room, and I think we were both pretty set on going to the massage tables at that point.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why, other than that we were like, dude, fucking on a massage table? That sounds badass.
Let's do it. So I turned to my right, and there was a guy, and he was, I'm going to say, he was on that edge of kind of creepy older guy. We'd seen him.
He was a creepy older guy. There's no question.
Yeah.
He was a creepy older guy.
Well, we had seen him, I think, somewhere else earlier, but then they disappeared, and we didn't really see him again.
We saw them a lot. They were the first people to dress down as well.
Right. But after we played, though,
Yes.
we didn't really.
Yeah.
After we started play, we didn't really see him, and apparently they had disappeared to this little room on the right hand side as you go up the stairs. But yeah, so he came out of the room. She was still laying on the bed. I don't know, looked like
I will say, I did see her laying on the bed, spread eagle, bottoms off, but she
Mid-pose,
still had like a bra on.
Yeah.
Or something, like maybe a bustier
A
or
top
something.
or something,
She
yeah.
had something on her chest and stomach, but her panties were off. And she was basically spread eagle.
She was spread eagle. I mean,
Starfishing.
She looked like she was like mid-pose, mid-play.
Yeah.
Something, but he comes wandering out with this half-dazed look on his face, and he's turning to the right as we're passing. So at the time that he said anything, I was
leading as well at this point, I think.
Well, then you must have been past him already.
Yeah, I think I'd passed him already because I remember looking in the room and seeing her and then walking on because I was like, suddenly, whoa, there's 2 massage table, or there was a massage table free.
And you're like,
I'm
mine.
I was basically going to call that.
So you were up there, but then as he was turning left as if he was going towards the stairs or the other room, I was basically at him or just past him, and he kind of very creepily, very softly said, "Hey, do you play with girls?" But it was this just creepy, quiet, low.
Also, do you want to watch?
But it was just, "Hey, do you play with girls?"
Not like, do you want to watch
No.
Like, do you want a Timex or Rolex?
But he said it as he was turning the opposite way
That's
of how
so
I was
funny.
going, and it was so quiet. I just pretended like I didn't hear him. I was just like, I'm just going to keep walking, keep going, and not even acknowledge.
Just because, honestly, what you should have done is, that's that time when you look at somebody and go, dude, you need to work on your flirting skills. I mean, like, I appreciate you have a good idea, and I like where you're going with this, but...
I felt kind of bad because she was laid out on the bed as if, like, mid-play, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? But then he was not really intent on anyone. I think anybody who had happened to walk by, he would have said that to. He was just, had that blank look in his face. He was turning the other way from how I was going, so it's not entirely like he was trying to get my attention. And
no,
it was, and he said
it's
it
just
so...
you happened to be there.
Yeah, and he said it so softly that at first I wasn't even sure he said anything. And I was kind of like, well, no, I'm going to keep going. Yeah.
So I will tell you that's exactly what happens in a sauna.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll get shit like that, and you're like, dude, really? You know, either man up and ask for what you want, and if somebody says no thank you, just be like, okay, that's cool, or don't say anything at all.
Yeah.
But it's... You didn't tell me that until after we'd left, and that still, to me, is one of those, like, oh my god, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Hey, want to buy a Rolex? I got some dildos in my jacket. I mean, that's what I'm expecting.
Yeah.
But clearly, it's fantastic. Love it. So...
But we continued on to the massage table. Yeah.
Mrs. Adam ignored him completely. I'm like, no, if you can't talk like a man, I'm going to ignore you.
Yeah.
Like a child. And so we went to the massage.
That's why we don't have children, because I would completely ignore them.
That's awesome. Back in your box, kids. So we got on the massage table, and I was like, admittedly, I was sort of like, I want to get a massage. And Mrs. Adam goes, I want a massage. Massage me. So she, like, takes off all her clothes and flops down on the massage table. I'm like, all right, that's cool.
I was faster than you. What
you
can
were
I
faster
say?
than me. I was like, anyway, I was paying attention to the other couple who were fucking on the table next to us. So, you know, I'm like massaging her and all this shit and stuff. I don't know. So I was massaging her, and I immediately went to a little bit of finger play, and I don't know. We ended up having sex on the table. And
We did some 69 on there first.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember that
Before
as much.
we
Okay, sure.
went to play.
And then we went to play, and yeah, it was good. And, you know, it was a little bit of doggy on top of the table, which was nice.
It's a perfect height for that.
It was great because what I liked about that too is we're having sex on this table, and we're in full view of everybody in the hot tub, and there were 2 couples in the hot tub. And what's funny is, like, one of the couples, you could almost hear what they were saying as well, just enough. And one of the couples was like, well, we're gonna go on and play, and, you know, I'm fucking you, and they're like walking past like, hello. I still love the whole
you just smile as they go by.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great sort of mental place to be, where you're fucking your partner, and people are walking by,
or somebody else,
and or somebody else, and people are walking by, and there's just like, it's just normal.
Nobody cares. Yeah.
Sex is normal, and I still love that about all of these clubs. Is like, there's no judging on sex. It's sex is sex. Wait, I should rephrase that. Heterosexual sex is sex. There's a lot of judging on male to male sex, but everything else is okay. That's for another podcast.
Yes.
So, yeah, we finished. I got to do what I love doing, which is I came on your back.
Yeah.
And then
you licked it off.
You know
which
why?
was awesome.
I did. You know why? Because I'm over practical.
Easy cleanup.
Yeah, I'm over practical.
But it was hot though.
I don't want to make a mess. I don't want to leave a mess for the next person to use the massage table. If you stand up, because there was a lot of cum there. Because you know how it is. If you don't, if you prolong it, you're like, I don't know how physiologically how it works, but it's like you just keep building cum, and then at some point you explode, and it's like, oh look, there's like, you know, half a pint. So I licked it off your back.
That was pretty hot.
Did you like that?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't bad. I will be the first to say I taste pretty fucking good.
I know you do.
But yeah, so it wasn't bad, you know, and I was purely looking at it from a practical, easy cleanup point of view.
And after you did that, I was like, you know, there's Kleenexes underneath the table, right?
And I was like, yeah, I do now. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
But so after that, we we walked back downstairs, got a little more wine, and
It was the last of the bottle.
Yeah, the last of the bottle. And the law and the baby and the law and the baby doll. The law and baby doll were sitting. They were having their little break. So we sat at the high top table across from them, and we had an awesome conversation with them.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're such great people.
They're lovely people.
Yeah.
They're intelligent. They're highly sexual, but not in that sort of in your face kind of sexual. They're a lot of fun to talk to.
Great sense of humor.
Yeah. I think we talked to them for 40 minutes, maybe 45.
It felt like a while.
It was a while.
Yeah.
Because during that conversation, we had the lady who had commented to you about watching us in the BDSM room. She came and sat on the stairs. She knocked her drink onto my feet.
Yes.
I wasn't wearing shoes, so it wasn't a big deal, but now my feet were sticky.
Yep.
For some reason other than what I'd really want them to be sticky for. But I digress. And she was cute, but she was really drunk.
She was very drunk at
and
that
point. I would have pressed you to play with her.
Earlier in the night, I would have agreed, but after that...
But at that point, I was like, you're too drunk.
No.
You're just too drunk. And then another gentleman came up and was talking to us about something. I don't even remember what it was, because we were talking about the cruise that the Aussie Swingers are taking, and
it goes out of LA.
Yeah, there's a number of people...
A swinger cruise.
There's a number of people on Twitter that have decided to take the Swingers cruise out of LA to Mexico and back. And this fella had thought about it, and we talked to him for a bit, and then he wandered away, and then lastly, so the law and baby doll had to go do their work. Poor guys. And this new lady came in. I'm going to call her the lady in green.
Yes.
Because she was wearing green, and she was a very attractive lady.
Beautiful color on her.
Yeah. And she had come from way far out and sat down and chatted with us for a wee bit. And then another couple came in. I don't have any names for them, but let's just call them the other couple. And she sat down in the chair, and he stood next to them.
They were fun.
All the people we talked to, this is the couple I hope that messages us.
Yeah.
We talked to a lot of people that night, and they were
a lot of fun.
Intelligent, attractive.
I felt like he and I were on more of the same level, and you and her were on more of the same level.
Well, because you're clinical and masculine, and I'm feminine and emotional.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I thought he was cute.
Yeah, he was cute.
I thought she was beautiful.
She had a nice ass.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because we even commented on her ass earlier in the night.
Twice. Yeah. We had commented on her ass and didn't realize it was her until we
because
were
she was
talking.
sitting down, and so we couldn't see it.
And then she stood up and turned around. I was like, that's the ass. So, I mean, it was great. But yeah, the lovely couple. We really, if you're listening, please contact us. We really liked y'all. We'd love to grab drinks with you.
Contact us if you like us. If you don't, then piss off.
If you don't like us, contact us anyway.
Okay.
Tell us you don't like us. Tell us why.
Sure. That's a fair point. Yeah. Tell us why. But yeah, no,
because we were cordial and nice, and I think I did tell them I was bisexual.
Yeah.
Which scares most people off, and that's still a bummer, but whatevs.
Yeah. Better to find out early than get your hopes up and find out later.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not an animal. I'm not going to attack you, but still. So we talked to them for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And then at some point, you and I were like, okay, we're about to pass out. We should probably go home.
I'm hungry and I'm tired.
Yeah.
I need some pafes.
So we went and got our clothes back on, and they left at the same time. Yep. So we dressed with them, which is always funny to dress with somebody rather than undress with somebody. We did find that they only played with each other, and they were also the type just like us. They don't come to a club like that to play. They come to a club like that to play with each other and meet others.
And meet other people. Yeah, they were very much like us in that they don't play with people on that night. And so it was kind of good to see that, we're not necessarily an anomaly, and that there are other people like that.
We're not complete freaks, just partial.
Yeah.
So, so we...
That's hard for me to say, an anomaly.
An anomaly?
Anomaly. It kind of runs together.
It's like an anemone.
I know.
Hey, with friends like this, who needs an anemone? Anyway, so...
I roll.
We packed up and walked to the Pie Face at King's Cross.
Yep.
And then we went and got the car and drove our happy asses home.
Yeah.
And that was that. It was that was the best possible outcome for the start of a weekend.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be fun. I honestly didn't realize it was going to be that much fun.
It was a fantastic evening.
We'll say, OSS, if you're a first timer, they do it right. So
Yeah.
we like all the clubs in Sydney are great. Both the clubs in Sydney are great, all of them. But I think OSS is where our heart and soul is.
Yeah.
But that's all right.
There's a lot of things that they do right.
Yeah, it's such a comfortable, safe, non-smoking environment.
Yeah.
And those three things are, again, any place that you can leave, and I will say this of both clubs in Sydney, any place where you can leave your drink out and feel comfortable that the worst thing that's going to happen is somebody's going to drink your drink is, that's a good place. Yeah. So, yeah. Do we have a question tonight?
Do you have one?
I don't know.
Am I supposed to have one?
We sort of talked about it, but we can talk about... Oh, here's a good one.
Okay.
If you don't have one.
Sure.
This was one, again, that was emailed to us. Do you ever get sick of talking about sex? Mrs. Adam?
No.
No.
No. I would say that we talk about sex a lot between us.
Yeah, we're walking down the street.
It's really hard not to bring it up at work sometimes.
Going to the grocery store.
Because people say things and my mind immediately goes to the gutter.
Shopping for cars. Everything. We talk about sex.
Like, how big is that back seat?
Yeah.
Right. How many people can you fit in here? But no, it's really hard because
carrot, aubergine, or eggplant.
Yeah, my mind, when people say things, it just goes to the gutter.
Yeah.
And that's just how I am.
Yeah.
So I would tend to say it's very rare for me not to think about sex.
So I think about my coworkers, and I have a coworker that I love very much, and she's a listener. Hey, baby. So when we talk for work, we always go through like, okay, who did you do this weekend? So yeah, it's like I'm always talking sex, and I know you're always talking sex. We're always talking sex. All of our friends. It's just I don't think I'll ever get sick of talking about sex.
I don't think I'd ever get tired of it.
Yeah.
Because there's always something new, something different, a different perspective.
And that's the thing. Everybody looks at the world through a different lens. It's nice to see how others see the things that we see through their own personal lens.
Right.
That seemed like a long
convoluted,
analogy. Convoluted, but you know what I mean. Cool. All right. Well, that was an easy one. I knew it was going to be quick and easy because I knew both of us were like, yeah, we never get sick of it. Fuck it. Let's talk about sex. So if you want to talk about sex with us, email us at theatomsoflove@gmail.com, or you can follow us on the Twitterverse at theatomsoflove. We have a Facebook page. Search for By the By Podcast on your Facebook feed and we'll be there. And then you can find us on the website, www.bytheby.com.au. And that's where we got some pictures up there. That's where our podcast lives at times. Find our podcast on iTunes, on Pocket Cast, Stitcher, wherever podcasts are sold.
Thanks for listening to us here on By the By.
Ciao!